To get the dealer's cost, a list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates, click on the Car Cost Canada tab at any time during the video.
Well, I know what you're thinking. Why are we reviewing another Mustang on this channel? And I understand, but hear me out. I'm in Los Angeles. About an hour and a half ago, I was down at the car show, getting a little bit bored of walking around the hallways. So I said, hey, is there a car that I can actually go and drive? And Ford said, well, all we've got is a Mustang. So I thought for about half a second and then gladly accepted the offer. Here we are. I didn't know what it was going to be. Turns out it's a GT convertible, obviously beautiful blue paint, 6-speed manual transmission. No power pack on this car, but we do have the premium pack, which is mostly creature comforts, leather seats, so on and so forth. So this review's a little bit different, a little bit faster, not going to get bogged down in details, fuel economy, interior features, and so on. This is all about driving. I'm just off of Angeles Crest Highway, just outside of Los Angeles, one of the best driving roads in all of North America. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes this Mustang such a great sports car. Okay, so I really don't have a lot of time here, so I've done a couple of things a little bit differently. First of all, as I mentioned, we're not going to spend a ton of time on features and stuff. I'll put a card up right here. There's a few other reviews of the this generation of Mustang that are on the channel, so just click there if you want to know the nitty-gritty. This is about driving. The second thing is, with apologies to Matt Farah, I'm going to steal the one camera forward, one camera backwards, just because I don't have enough time here. I got to get back to the hotel in the next hour and a half or so, so time is tight. And in the spirit of that, let's take a ride, shall we? Okay, so the convertible means you're gonna get the sound of that amazing V8, and I'm gonna put the windows up so hopefully I don't have to yell too loudly in here and you can still hear my voice. But what are we in here? So this is actually a 2019 Mustang GT convertible. It does have the premium pack, but no power pack, which means smaller tires, also no big brakes. Could probably use brakes on a road like this. I'm here on Angeles Crest Highway, which is famous. If you're into car videos on YouTube, then yeah, you've seen a couple of reviews on this exact stretch of road. So I do have a 6-speed, which is great, especially when you can just kind of wind it out on a nice twisty road like this. But what are we talking about in terms of power? So it's the same 5-liter V8 that revs to a very healthy 7,500, has almost an exotic sound up there in the rev range, but when you've got it down low, it's sort of a real muscle car kind of burble, burble, burble sound that I absolutely love. And 460 horsepower, 420 pounds-feet of torque. That's a lot of power. And I haven't been in a Mustang for a couple of months, and man, this thing's fast. Every time you get into one of these things, you are reminded of that. With the manual, I think 0 to 100K is like 4.1 or 4.2, something like that. With the 10-speed automatic that you can get in one of these, it's like 4 seconds flat or 3.9 seconds, which is crazy. But it's not just about straight line performance with the modern Mustangs. This is kind of why I'm here and what I want to talk about today. This thing handles so well. And I love the 6-speed manual transmission, but let's focus on handling for just a sec. The big news, everybody knows it now, independent rear suspension. It's gonna help you put down that 460 horsepower when you're going around a corner, when you're on a road like this, which isn't terrible, but nonetheless, lots of undulations up and down. So you couldn't really hit this kind of road with confidence in the old Mustang. You had to be careful. The back end would step out on you. Just never quite felt settled over bumps, and therefore in the real world it really wasn't that quick. Now you can equip this car with Magnaride dampers. It's an option. This car doesn't have them, and that's a bummer because I think that's a prerequisite. If you're looking at a Mustang, fork over the extra couple grand, I think it is, get the Magnaride dampers because it really does take some of the wallowy character out of this car. This does, with a standard fixed suspension, have a bit of a roll to it. Keep in mind, we've got a big heavy V8 right above the front wheels, which from an engineering perspective isn't ideal. And I found that Magnaride damper system just kind of took a little bit of that float out, firmed it up, gave it a really racy feel. When you get on the brakes, it just completely eliminated any dive and really made it feel like a true sports car. This is a bit of a step back from that. So what about the interior? Well, it's a Mustang interior. I mean, you know, it's okay. It's just okay. Not that great. Now this is the premium pack car, so we've got some upgrades. We've got the big sync infotainment system, which is not the most attractive in the industry, but it's one of the easiest to use in the industry. We've also got leather seating surfaces. That's pretty nice. It's perforated, heated and cooled. Good stuff, especially because as I go up into the mountains here, it's starting to get a little bit cold. And overall, comfortable car to be in. Ergonomically well designed. I like the switchgear down here, the sort of aviation theme style going on. And that all works for me. But yeah, the material usage, not that great. The leather's not that soft, and it just doesn't really live up to the likes of, let's say, BMW M4, base Porsche 911. And before you flip out on me for comparing this car to those, the reason I'm doing that is this is just as fast as those. Around a racetrack, they're probably, you know, within a few hairs of one another. It's kind of the natural competition as I look at it if you're going for a sports car. The big difference, those are way, way more expensive. This car in Canada maxed out is like 65 grand. And that is a bargain when you compare it to a BMW that's like at least 20,000 more, and then another 20 grand, if not more, for a base model 911. So this really is, when you start talking about price, a super competitive product given how it makes you feel behind the wheel, the power, the sound. It gives you that classic sports car / muscle car experience. All right. No, I've been driving for like half an hour up Angeles Crest, and I'm pretty high up, I can just tell, because of how cold it's getting here. There's like nobody up here, middle of the week, no traffic. I was worried that I'd be running into people, but thankfully that hasn't been the case. And I think I'm gonna start coming down from the mountain anytime now. And that's really gonna put these brakes to the test, because as this is not equipped with the power pack, I don't get the big 6-piston Brembos. And when you're going downhill in a car like this that's not exactly light, and you're hustling it a little bit, to be fair, that's when you really appreciate that extra diameter in the disc and that extra stopping power that those 6-piston Brembos are going to give you. But these are all right on the brakes, nice and hard. Just going to keep it in third. You can see where there's been rock slides here, actually. They do a good job of maintaining this road, but you can see how if you were first up here in the morning, you'd probably want to take it pretty easy. All right, I'm at the top of Angeles Crest Highway. I've got some elevation happening here. It's freezing cold. I put my jacket back on, and you can bet that convertible top is going to go up in a moment as well. But you know what can I say about the Mustang that hasn't already been said? It's a quintessential American car. It's got 460 horsepower, it's fast, the 6-speed is great, and even though this car doesn't have the optional power pack and Magnaride dampers, it's still a ton of fun around corners. And here's the kicker. This car, just about fully loaded in Canada, is just over $60,000, which is a bargain given everything that it can do. I mean, think about an M4, think about a base 911. That's $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more expensive, and this is going to give you just about the same performance. Now, of course, more basic interior, perhaps not as refined, but it gives you that glorious V8 sound, and that can't be replicated by any of the competition. Great car. And before I go, I want to say a big thanks to the Canadian PR team at Ford. They hooked me up with this car on short notice. I've had a great day. I can't think of a better road to drive this thing on, so it's been a lot of fun. Thanks, Ford Canada. And this has been Mike Gurr for Motormouth Canada, and I'll see you soon.
Car Cost Canada provides the dealer cost, a list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. The link is in the description below.